Yo, yo, yo. I can't walk.
Well, tonight, a new development in the largest welfare scandal in Mississippi history. CBS News has exclusively obtained text messages and documents that connect the plan to divert millions of dollars in welfare funds to pet projects of Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre.
What? I thought this was going to be the lead story on ESPN all the way up until this case goes to trial. Apparently solving the mystery of who Ime Udoka was fucking on the Boston Celtics staff behind Nia Long's back was more important than Brett Favre stealing money from poor people.
What kind of shit is that?
I'm pretty sure we all know what specifically happened in the Ime Udoka story that sparked so much interest from the black community about it, most notably black women.
He had sex with a white girl, that's what.
Oh, was it everything I dreamed of? She had pink nipples, didn't she?
Everyone knows that since this is a civil lawsuit, no one's going to jail if Brett Favre and or his associates in this welfare scam are found guilty. Everyone also knows that Brett Favre won't have to file for bankruptcy for paying whatever fines he'll be forced to pay if he's found guilty. Unfortunately, these are the main reasons why I believe the media and the public sentiment towards this news story appears to be,
oh my God, who the hell cares?
But what my problem is with all of this is that
I care.
in a capitalistic society like America,
Millions
of people have to lose in order for thousands to win and maybe hundreds to really win. If you just so happen to be winning, you pay taxes to fund programs that help all the losers you pass by in life who are now considered to be less fortunate because you earn substantially more money than they probably ever will.
So?
As a dusty, unemployed, disabled, deadbeat loser in America who depends on those programs to survive, I have a vested interest in where that money is spent, even if it's not in my own state. I'm just saying if the exact same welfare scam went down in Florida, I would hope and pray that state officials would have had Dan Marino's house surrounded by cops
a long time ago.
The lack of public outrage for this scam sends a message to me that American taxpayers, especially in Mississippi, just don't care about where the money goes after they pay their taxes. If they did, Brett Favre would have never even entertained the idea of being involved in something like this in the first place. I mean, why else would Brett Favre believe he could get away with it, allegedly?
Because I can.
Fuck you, nigga!
Despite the lack of coverage I believe this story is received in sports media, over a month after the allegations were initially made, Brett Favre released a statement saying he's innocent and the media's out here smearing his name.
Really? Really?
If the media was really trying to smear Brett Favre's name, this story would have received at least half the coverage that bullying incident with the Miami Dolphins did back in 2013. Remember when Richie Incognito bullied his teammate Jonathan Martin by threatening his life while calling him
a nigger
on multiple occasions? Most people don't remember that shit, but I do. Anti-bullying campaigns were all over TV and the internet at the time, so ESPN couldn't
Shut the fuck up!
about it for what felt like 6 months straight because they had
Absolutely nothing
else to talk about that year. Every time I think the media is going to put more focus and emphasis on this case, something else happens to distract the public's attention even further away from it. I'm starting to think that Brett Favre told Kanye West and Candace Owens to wear those White Lives Matter shirts just so people could bitch about that instead of him a couple of weeks ago.
Cole, you stupid.
Every day, a different hater from Brett Favre's past should be able to tell Molly Qerim and Stephen A. Smith's forehead that they find these accusations to be
Absolutely reprehensible behavior. What kind of a public servant? His legacy is shrouded.
for at least 5 minutes to open every episode of ESPN's First Take for the rest of this year. That chick from the New York Jets who Brett Favre sent pictures of his penis to should have her own reality show talking shit about this nigga right now.
Fuck you, nigga!
Some people are even trying to say Brett stole that money because he might be suffering from the effects of CTE.
This is what Brett Favre texts. If you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out where it came from and how much? So if you gotta ask this question, is there any way the media can find out? You already know you're doing something wrong.
I'm not a smart man.
But that does not sound like a text message that was made by an individual who's suffering from any form of brain trauma whatsoever to me. What really breaks my heart even more about this is the fact that as a football player, I loved me some motherfucking Brett Favre. In a very quick summary of his career, Skip Bayless explained why
Millions
of people, including myself, found so much joy in watching Brett Favre play football.
So we start with his career. And obviously, the great John Madden helped make Brett Favre's career because
he loved him.
He just loved him, and it gave John so much joy to watch Brett play with so much joy.
Yeah.
And we give him that. And
Yes.
he was obviously a great football player.
Yes.
I thought he got away with near murder on the football field because he had the greenest light. He could just try about anything, but he had a huge arm, and he was pretty athletic.
Oh,
And
yeah.
especially in his younger days, he did whatever the hell he felt like doing, and about 75% of the time, it worked.
The fun and excitement he played football with was beyond infectious. If you don't believe me, just ask former NFL head coach Steve Mariucci.
Watch him play the game. Watch how Brett plays sports. What do you mean? Well, when he throws a touchdown, he goes and jumps on the guys, and he's celebrating, and he has fun, and that's the way sport is supposed to be played. It's not always serious stuff, even in pro football.
To me, his games looked a lot like he was playing televised backyard football narrated by John Madden and Pat Summerall. Whenever the Packers were on TV during his career, I just had to watch him play.
People want to see this guy play.
I gotta see this. This farm out here. Brett Favre.
La da 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 da. La da 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 da. So with that being said, if O.J. Simpson can be a member of the NFL's 100th anniversary team, then I don't think Brett Favre should be removed from the Hall of Fame if he's found guilty. I believe he's an all-time top 10 quarterback who deserves to keep his spot among the greatest players in NFL history.
Yeah.
However, I really wish Brett Favre and everyone else involved in this welfare scam could be tried as criminals because
This is what we know. Scared when black and brown people do fraud the government, they hell bent. You get an EBT card or you get WIC or you get stuff like that, boy, they move heaven and earth to try to put you in jail for $400 little measly dollars.
He ain't lying.
having a net worth of $100 million and still feeling the need to steal money from the poor is taking what Debo used to do to people to a whole new different kind of level of evil.
What's up, Red? Thanks for the bike. What you got on my 40, homie?
I thought you had $200.
I do. But I won't spend Red's money.
If he was found guilty in criminal court, I think Brett Favre should get sentenced for 5 to 8 years. That way he would have to serve at least 3 years mandatory. To those of you who think 3 years is too long, all I can think of to tell you right now is,
you got a problem with that, you can go fuck yourself.
to those of you who think 3 years isn't long enough for Brett Favre to pay his debt to society, I would like to assure you that 3 years is definitely
Plenty of time to lift weights and convert to Islam.
or possibly even join the Aryan Brotherhood, depending on if and how many of those people's welfare checks got fucked over by the very same scam Brett got locked up for to begin with. When he gets out, I say make him do community service for a year or two picking up garbage on the side of highways. Instead of those neon orange or yellow vests they assign people, make Brett wear his Packers jersey when he's doing that shit so he could stand out from the others.
Oh, wanna be op-ass nigga?
This way, people driving by will always know it's him when they record and take pictures of him so they can make memes clowning him on social media for being a scumbag. I also think the University of Southern Mississippi should name their new volleyball center after Brett Favre and put his name on the building. If he's found guilty, put a very large inscription on the wall in front of it explaining how Brett stole the money to build it and put his face on that shit too.
Yeah!
The state should also pass a law that says whenever a natural disaster occurs in Mississippi, the homeless can use the volleyball center as a shelter. This way, after the school makes them leave, that place will reek of urine and methamphetamines for the rest of its existence after the fact.
That's fucked up.
I don't know how much money Brett Favre should have to pay back in fines.
Because you're a dumbass.
But it should be a lot since he's not going to prison if he's found guilty. Alex Jones has to pay almost $1 billion to families who lost their kids in the Sandy Hook shootings because he said that shit was fake. So for me, that's definitely some food for thought. Kanye West recently lost all of his endorsements because he said mean things about Jewish people, and that might be the biggest news story for the rest of this year. Brett Favre recently lost all of his endorsements because he allegedly stole from poor people in his own home state of Mississippi, and
Nobody gives a shit.
I don't feel the need to lecture anyone watching this video that what Brett Favre's being accused of doing is beyond unethical because we already know that it is. But just to make sure we're on the same page,
Let me hear you say, that ain't right.
then again, the fact that people have shown significantly more outrage over the Little Mermaid being black than this is both alarming and disturbing.
You disgust me.
Poor people of all races got fucked over by this welfare scam, and I believe now is the time for Americans to tell our government that this type of behavior is unacceptable. But if Americans continue to remain silent on this issue, then I really can't blame poor people in Mississippi if they think that the rest of the country sees them as
Just a bunch of niggers and spicks and poor white trash.
And that's all I have to say about that.
If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, please subscribe, and tell me what you think in the comment section below.
Peace. I'm Audi 5000.
Those who wish to follow me, I welcome with my hand. Thank you for being a friend.
And those are my thoughts for this video. But then again, what do I know? I'm just an old crippled bastard. Ooh, 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 ooh. I ain't too proud to beg for your money, so like, share, and subscribe.